Amphibians by Dr. Jack Brown. You first have to know, what is an amphibian? An amphibian is any cold-blooded, usually smooth-skinned vertebrate hatching as an aquatic larva with gills, and then transforming into an adult with air-breathing lungs later on in life. The first amphibians to spend life on land most likely evolved from lobe-finned fish. Lobe-finned fish had a bone structure within their fins that worked as legs on land. Early amphibians obviously also required more oxygen than their fish ancestors if they wanted to live on land, so they adapted efficient hearts. There are many species of amphibians. However, there are several key characteristics shared between them. These include metamorphosis, which I will talk about in more detail later in this video. Most amphibians have moist, thin skin with no scales. Most amphibians have webbed feet when feet are present. Most amphibians use gills, lungs, and skin in respiration, which is a unique trait. Eggs lack multicellular membranes or shells in amphibians. This also shows you how many tadpoles there can be in one place in water, and it's really cool. Now that you know about amphibians, I can begin to focus mainly on frogs. Frogs are a part of one of three orders of amphibians called Anurans, which contains frogs and toads, Caudata, which contains salamanders, and then Gymnophiona, which contains caecilians. Anurans are found worldwide except for a few places. They are found almost everywhere in the world. This could include a desert, tundra, a rainforest, or even your backyard. Anurans spend at least part of their life in water, which is where frogs are born, obviously, and like that picture you saw before with all those tadpoles, that is where the eggs are laid. And this is a video of an African dwarf frog that I was able to get. The skin of a frog is actually very important for two functions. First of all, the skin is moist because of many mucous glands, which also secrete a smell that protects the frog from predators and helps it survive. The second use of the skin is not what you would expect, in that frogs and other amphibians use skin for respiration. They are able to do this because the skin is moist and permeable to gases and water, allowing rapid diffusion of oxygen, carbon dioxide, and water. An important part of the frog is the circulatory system, containing a three-chambered heart. It is split up into two separate loops, the first loop being the pulmonary circulation, which carries deoxygenated blood from the heart to the lungs. The second loop is the systemic circulation, which brings oxygenated blood from the heart to the body and then back to the heart. The circulatory system starts with deoxygenated blood from the body entering the right side of the heart. Oxygenated blood then from the lungs enters the left atrium. Both of the bloods are then forced into the single ventricle of the heart, the main pumping chamber. The ventricle is not divided, however, the bloods are prevented from mixing with each other. The ventricle lastly pumps deoxygenated blood to the lungs and oxygenated blood to the body. The life cycle of frogs begins with two frogs mating and many fertilized eggs being produced. After just a few days of fertilization, the eggs hatch into tadpoles. As the tadpoles grow, they slowly turn from an aquatic larva into an adult. Metamorphosis is the process of change as the tadpole grows into an adult from larva. Legs grow while the tail and gills disappear. The lungs also become functional to help them breathe. In simpler terms, the life cycle goes: fertilized eggs after two frogs mating. The fertilized eggs turn into tadpoles. Those tadpoles develop into young frogs and eventually into adults.